Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dude with a Fork. My name is Ken. On today's episode of Ken Cook Stuff, we are making smoky onion cheese biscuits. I don't think I need to do much description because what it does is all right there in the name. It's smoky, it's cheesy, it's oniony, and it's a biscuit. And these are great for entertaining during the holidays. Great for special breakfasts and stuff like that. You probably have everything you need already in the pantry. It's a super simple recipe, so let's get started. All right, so like I said, you probably have all the ingredients that you need in the pantry, except maybe for Swiss or smoked cheese, which I did have to go out and buy. I will say this: we're getting into the holiday season. Aldi will start to put out a lot of their holiday cheeses, so this is the time to go out and get them. And I think they have a smoked Gouda that would work really well in this as well. So I'm going to talk about this cheese in a second. The first thing you're going to need is some all-purpose baking mix. I have Jiffy. Bisquick is another brand. I know other stores out there have their own store brands. Use one that you know and trust that you can make biscuits and waffles and pancakes with, and you'll be just fine. These are smoky onion cheese biscuits. So we're going to talk about the onions. I'm going to use green onions. And you can see these are about a little smaller than my little finger. So I'm going to use probably 4 or 5 of these. I'm going to cut them up. I'm going to separate the bottom part from the top part. You can just get by with a regular yellow onion, and you would want to use about half a cup chopped. But I like green onions because then the green looks attractive in there. If you were really being super fancy, instead of green onions, you would use a shallot and fresh chives that you grew in your garden. Dude does not have a garden, and Dude is not that fancy, so I'm using green onions. We're going to need 4 tablespoons of butter. 2 of these are optional. We're going to use 2 tablespoons of butter to fry up these the bottoms of these onions. The other 2 are optional. You can melt this, put it over the top. We're going to need a teaspoon of garlic, granulated garlic, and a teaspoon of onion powder. And if you cannot remember the difference between those 2, the onion powder is usually a little lighter in color if you get them confused. We're going to need half a cup of milk. We're going to need an egg. And we're going to need some kind of smoked cheese. I got this smoked cheese. This is smoked Swiss from Williams. This is an 8-ounce block. I'm going to use about 3 ounces of this. So if you imagine cutting this in half and then using 3/4 of one of those halves. And you might be thinking that doesn't seem like a lot of cheese, but this is what it looks like grated up. It's quite substantial. And this one is pretty smoky. So I'm going to say if you like smoke, use a good smoky cheese and use a lot of it. If you are not as good with smoke, use less or use a less smoky cheese. I like this one. And also, this was what was at the closest store, which is part of the reason I like it. It was there. As an optional ingredient as well, if you want a little bit of heat, you can use some of this chipotle smoky or chipotle chili, which is smoky, and it also is a little hot because remember, chipotle is a smoked jalapeno. So I'm going to add just a tiny pinch of this. So my first step is to get over to the stove, get these guys, get the bottoms of these fried up, get the tops cut up, and you've seen people fry onions, so I'm not going to show you that. I will be back in a minute. I haven't told you what we're cooking this in. We need an 8x8 square baking dish, and I'm going to hit this with some cooking spray before we put everything together. So I'm going to go cook these. I'm going to get a nice big bowl to stir this up in because I don't like to make a mess, and we will be right back. All right, here we go. So I'm going to give you ingredients and amounts, but if you don't catch it, there is a free printable copy of the recipe on the website, which I will link down in the show notes below. As you can see, I'm also always making notes on this, so I'm going through as I do it, making sure I have everything that you need. So I've got the oven heating up to 400 degrees. It's my little toaster oven. So actually, because it's a toaster oven with a convection, I'm actually heating it up to about 375. I do have my 8x8 pan, which I have sprayed some spray oil in. In this bowl, I have a cup and a half of our baking mix, and I didn't actually measure that with a cup. because that's kind of inconvenient. And it's, with baking products, it's real easy to pack it in and get more than you need, or not put in enough if you do it real fluffy and light, and then your recipes don't come out right, and you're like, what the heck? So I used a scale, and to know how much, I looked at the nutrition facts, and it says a serving size is a quarter cup, which is 34 grams. So I got my little kitchen calculator out, and I did 6 times 34, 6 times 34, and that's 204 grams. So this is a cup and a half, or 204 grams of baking mix. And here are our onions. This is the bottom. There's a little bit of the green in there, which is fine. I mean, at some point you have to make a decision. That's more white than green, and that's more green than white. If you look at this over here, these are the tops. Those are completely green. So notice there also is a little bit of extra butter in here, which is fine. Have you ever heard anybody complain about extra butter? You are not going to hear me complain about that. So I did bring a spatula, so I'm going to get all of that out, because waste not, want not. Butter is expensive. Butter is also flavor. This is especially flavorful because it's had onions cooking in it. So yay. I'm just going to put that off to the side. I'm going to go in with our onion powder, sprinkle that over. I could have mixed that in before I put the onions in. There's our garlic. Just going to get that a rough mix. There is our egg that I have beaten up. That sounds terrible. I didn't beat up the egg. I beat it with a fork. That still doesn't sound great. I beat the egg. And we're going to go in with our half cup of milk. And I'm just going to give this a stir. We don't need that. And I'm not going to put all of this cheese in. I'm going to leave a little bit out for the top. So there are some bits of the rind that are a little bit darker because they get the smoke. I'm going to make sure those go in there because this will brown up anyway. So I'm going to go in with, how much do I want on top? Like that. And I'm going to go in with our green onions. And these are not actually all of the tops. There were some more that I might make pasta salad and I can throw them in there. All right. Now, if you're thinking biscuits and you're like, well, why do we have a pan? It's because these are very much like a drop biscuit. So, yeah. All right. So whenever you mix something dry, you always want to make sure that you scrape the bottom of the bowl to make sure you don't have any dry bits left over in there. That's one of the nice things about using a glass bowl, because you can just pick it up and look at the bottom. So this looks good. The only thing about these stainless steel bowls is they are very shiny and don't show up well on camera, and they can be a little bit loud. Oh, you know what I forgot? I'm going to put in just a little pinch of chipotle powder. Ooh, not that much. There we go. I have put up to like a teaspoon of this in here before. Oh, see, there's a little bit of dried mix right there. So, all right. That's looking good. And of course, this does get a little stiff as it sits here because that baking mix is absorbing all of the liquids. So, it looks gorgeous. All right, so we're going to get this in here. Yeah, I want to get every last bit of this out. For one thing, waste not, want not. I've talked about that. Don't like to waste. For another, it does make cleaning the bowl easier. So, all right. All right, so we're just going to spread that in a nice even layer, and you can see it's getting a little less cooperative because it's thickening up. So we just have to encourage it to fill all these nooks and crannies. Yep, there we go. And that looks good. All right, get on there. There. Just going to go in with the rest of this cheese. Sprinkle this on top. We are going to bake this for about, what did I say, 20 minutes? About 20 minutes. We'll know when it's done because we'll put a toothpick in the center. And if that comes out nice and clean, then we know this is done. So I'm going to get this in the oven, set a timer for about 15 minutes, and do some dishes. I like to set a timer for a little bit ahead of time so that I know, hey, I might have to take this out in 5 minutes. So make sure I've got a place to put it. Make sure I've got some, oven mitts ready to go and all of that stuff. So I'm going to go put this over there in the oven, and I will meet you back here when it's done. See you in a bit. And there we go. There they are, right out of the oven. And you can tell they're done. Perfectly clean toothpick. So here's the fun bit. I'm going to put some of this melted butter across the top and let that soak in. Then I'm just going to, these things literally just came out of the oven. So I'm going to give them a nice little rest. You can see how the cheese browned up nicely. You can see the bits of green onion in there, of which there is lots. By the way, those 2 tablespoons of butter, the easy way to melt that, I put them in this little bowl under a cover in the microwave, and I just set it for 30 seconds and then just forgot about it. Because a lot of people try to melt butter in the microwave and it starts to splatter and everything. And really, it was not completely melted at 30 minutes. The thing you got to do, though, is just 30 seconds. Just get it started and then just leave it there and let the residual heat continue to melt it. So I don't think we're going to need all of this, but we'll try to get it on there. So there you go. Oh yeah, and then I'll let this sit here for a little bit, and then get it on this plate and cut it up. Try it. Look at that. Oh, wrong way. Ah, it's just gorgeous. Look at that. Oh, it smells amazing too. This whole house smells like cheese and onions, which is the best way a house could smell, I think. So back in a few minutes after this is cooled down for a bit. All right, let's see if I can find a microphone that will stay on for longer than 10 seconds. Here we go. So we are tasting. All right, so we are tasting this. You might notice there's already a corner missing from here that is not showing up on this plate. That's because I already did this scene, and I was so excited to taste it, I forgot to record it, which just goes to show how good this recipe is. So I'm going to help myself to another delicious heap of carbs and cheese and onions. And look at this. It's a little cooler now, so it cuts nice and cleanly. But look at all of those gorgeous green onions in there. You've got this, the cheese on top is browned nicely. You can see little tiny flecks of the chipotle in there. This whole house, which is not saying a lot because it's not a big house. This whole apartment though smells amazing. It smells like smoky onions. So yeah. So I'm eating this the second time around. So I'm just gonna break off a little piece here because I don't want to make a mess. Yeah, you can see little bits of chipotle chili in there. Oh. It is so good. It really is really good when you serve it warm. Like, take it out, let it sit for about 5 minutes, get it out of the pan, put it on a plate. I'll back you up a little bit. What am I doing so close? Whoops, there we go. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And that egg yolk gives it a nice little yellow color, as does the butter and the chipotle powder. I guess the chipotle powder adds a little bit of yellow color. Oh, it's so good. It's buttery from the butter that we put on top, which is why my hands are messy and I don't want to touch anything. Oh my gosh. Okay, first of all, you have to make this. This is getting toward the holiday season, so a lot of stores, especially Aldi, will have their holiday cheeses out. So there's going to be lots of. See, I didn't stir it very well. There's a big chunk of chipotle chili. A lot of stores will have their seasonal cheeses out, especially a lot of smoked cheeses. Aldi does a lot of those, and you can try various theme with variations on this. Oh my gosh. You know what would be so good on this? If you're serving this for breakfast, what would be so good with this is a little bit of apricot jam. It would go really well with the onion and the smokiness. It would contrast really well. But that is a good biscuit. So you have to make this. If you like onions, if you like smoked cheese, you have to make this. Please try it. Let me know what you think when you do. Leave a note down in the comments. This is so amazing. Oh, and hey, you get 9 servings out of this. So I'm probably going to take some to some friends tomorrow because this is a lot of. As more than one person should eat. So this is definitely something to share with your friends. Oh my gosh, it's so good though. So no regrets not remembering to press the record button the first time around, because now I get to eat twice as much of this tonight. So yeah, that's not a bad thing.
And that's it, folks. As always, thank you so much for watching. Links to free printable copies of any recipes here are down below in the show notes. Please like, comment, or if you'd like to see more of this kind of material, subscribe. As always, please stay safe, eat great food, and power to the proletariat. We'll see you next time.